Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm the Witch of Wonderlust here on YouTube and on Instagram, and today I have an interview. Today I have the honor of having Shereen as a guest. She's known here on YouTube as Arabian Conjure, and I've been watching her channel for quite some time. She's one of those channels that shows the full length of the spell work. She's very raw, she's very real, and she doesn't bullshit anything. It's kind of amazing. She's recently kind of become like a witchy big sister for me, so I'm really excited to share this interview with you, and without further ado, here we go. All right, so thanks for coming on this channel. Oh my gosh, I've been on Shereen's channel twice. I've been on Shereen's channel twice. So she's interviewed me, and now it's my turn to interview her. I've watched Shereen
Thank
for a really
you.
long time, and yeah, now I get to have her as a guest, so it's really exciting.
I'm excited, girl. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Is always the first question. What led you into your path? So first question that I ask everybody is how you got started into practicing and what you do today.
Well, I'm actually first generation Palestinian American. My parents were both born overseas and Palestine, aka Israel, whatever you want to call it. And my grandmother on my father's side was a healer and a practicing witch. People would bring their babies from all over to her when they had evil eye and things like that. And her mother, like my great grandmother before her, and then on my dad's side, my grandfather's brother was a high priest. And in the Middle East, it's very kind of like taboo, and a lot of countries illegal. So it was very interesting background, but it was just something it was passed on to me. But my grandmother died when I was about 16. And from then, I picked up my own practice, but I started practicing actively at 13. So,
Young.
yeah.
That's cool. So you just kept it going and ended up just making it kind of your business and your lifestyle and
The business happened on accident, actually. I actually quit practicing for 9 years in that time frame. So from 13 to 22, I practiced, and then my mom passed away at 23. And I kept trying to heal her because she had cancer, and I couldn't. At this point, I had lost everything. I lost everything I owned, my car, my home, everything. And luckily, I still had the gold that was passed down to me because my family took it from me. They're like, "You're being irresponsible. We need you to hit rock bottom." So I came up here, I had nothing. And I needed a job. So I was like, you know what? I'm sorry for abandoning you guys. I need your help. So I connected with my spirits again. I started doing spells to get a job. And then I started working for, a regular company. And something told me, like, you know what? Why not share your gifts? Like, show the world like how awesome spirituality is. And I felt like it was something I had to do to make it up to my spirits for abandoning them. So I started a YouTube channel. Not ever matter of fact. Sorry, am I going on and on?
No, I love it. This is the whole point.
So I had the idea, and I was watching other YouTubers, and Noah Tempestari, shout out Noah,
Love Noah.
and Alwine Green. They had this, and it was another witch, but I honestly can't remember his name. He's not around anymore. But they had this Power of Three live, and I was in there, and I was, we were chatting, and I was telling them how I'm an Arabic witch and this and that, and they're like, "Oh, you should start a channel." And I was already considering it, so I knew that was like confirmation. So so I did, and somehow, I don't know how, it grew. I mean, fairly rapidly. It's not huge, I'm still really small, but it grew more than I ever thought it would be. And in that process, just showing people how to, how I worked or whatever, people started coming to me and asking me. And so it just kind of, I helped one person, and word spread that I was, good. So it just kind of blew up. I'm very thankful for that. So
I
that's
have
how
to
that
say
happened.
30,000 people is not a small channel.
Well, comparatively, you know.
That's a lot of people though, you know, like I think that numbers are so they, you know, like they're so like small compared to what we like what they are. Wait, okay. We view them as so much smaller because of social media. I
Yeah.
mean, 30,000 people, that's what, two or three stadiums that you have watching?
That
You know, like
now that I think about it like that, yeah, wow.
it's a lot of people. So, you know, that's definitely not a small channel in my opinion, but yeah, that's a huge reason that I love watching you is because you're very honest and like there's no bullshit, there's no like trying to make it look a certain way so that, you know, you get people just to watch or whatever. Like you are doing it just because that's how you do it and that's like the real raw shit and that's the best about your channel. And I also appreciate you being so honest and like open about, you know, like your whole story because that's a tough time.
And I guess you're right. I guess we're, you know, being used to being on social media, we look at everybody else and we compare like, oh, she's so much bigger than me. And, you know, like I didn't even think you would be interested in being on my channel, you know, or having me on yours because you were like huge and, you know, and I was like, oh, there's no way. Because that's what, you know, unfortunately, that's what we're programmed to believe.
Yeah,
But yeah, I appreciate that. That actually means a lot to me. So thank you.
of course.
You're making me blush.
Oh, oh, okay. So, just for my viewers' sake, she makes spell videos, and I get those requests a lot. But I have my own reasons why I don't show my own personal spells. But she shows a lot of spells either as examples or the ones that she does for her clients. So definitely go check that out because you'll see how she works. Like it's just exactly she's doing the spell. So that's super helpful. I'd really like to know more about the differences between you as an Arabic practitioner compared to kind of what people think about when they think about witchcraft or practicing. Are there like stark differences or are they very
Well, with how we practice, um, our type of magic is extremely different than, you know, your typical hoodoo or, you know, candle magic. It could be very dark. Matter of fact, I was gonna teach Arabic, like ancient practices, but my spirits whooped my ass for
Oh, I
even.
was like, sign me up.
Yeah, like,
Payment
well,
plan.
that was gonna be the theme of my channel, and as soon as I even like started to put it together, I got the biggest spiritual ass whooping of my entire life. So basically, I just kind of practice the Amal style, which is like kind of like hoodoo. We pretty much there's sihr and then there's Amal, and Amal is very like basic candle work, herbs and things like that. Sihr gets a little bit darker.
Hmm.
Some people consider everything sihr. Like sihr is just like a word for magic, but I think there is, you know, stark differences, and there like there's Islamic based, like they use the Quran, but just it's really the spirits that we're summoning, you know, for the most part. That's the difference, and how we're doing it, if that makes sense. I can't really get into too much detail,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna be like, I was like, I have more questions, but I don't think you'll be able to answer them. Are there specific okay, I know that you might not be able to answer me, but are there specific tools or items that are kind of like a staple within your practice that's like your go-to? Because I mean, you do a ton of candle magic, but
mhm.
other than that, you know, are there specific herbs or are there specific items that are like a staple for you that you find work really well for specific things?
The Bible, believe it or not, the Bible. So in, you know, I don't know if you've heard of the Djinn, obviously, you know, and I wish you could meet he's like a brother. Shout out to El Hawel. Like he doesn't have a channel or anything. He lives in the Gulf, and he is, oh, you would love him. But anyway, you can actually, we work with the Djinn. So you know the word genie. You've heard genie in a bottle, right, from Aladdin. Well, that is derived from the Djinn, and Djinn for those of you who don't know what it is. And so basically, they're kind of like a, you know, there's many different kinds of Djinn, there's like really, really dark, you know, evil, as some people would put it, bad Djinn, and there's good Djinn, and then there's in the middle Djinn. And but anyway, to summon any one of those Djinn, you can use the 3 holy books from the Abrahamic religions, the Torah, the Quran, or the Bible. So me coming from an Orthodox background, because see, my family, it's really weird. My family's actually Orthodox Christian. So have you ever like seen the Romanian witches that are
Yes.
Orthodox? Okay, like we're very similar to that, like in our practice. So you know, my family, because we're Palestinian, we believe in Jesus, of course. Even the Muslims believe in Jesus. They just believe him as a prophet. But so me having an Orthodox Christian background, I use the Bible for mine. You know, others would use the Quran, obviously. But a staple, honestly, would be bakhur, which is incense, frankincense. Frankincense, myrrh, copal resin, but mainly frankincense is very, very sacred in my culture. So that's like my go-to. Holy oil, holy water. And that was the thing. Like my grandmother only did light. She never did dark, and neither did really. I'm probably the first one in the generation in my you know, my family to actually embrace the dark. Everybody else just wanted to be, you know, light. And I don't honestly, I think my grandmother and my great grandmother, and on my grandfather's side, my uncle, great uncle, God rest their souls, they had the ability to tear shit up. My grandfather literally spoke on a building being so sturdy, and he was upset about the way like where the building was in like correlation to his house, and he literally spoke ill on that building, and it literally crumbled down, like not even that long after. I don't know exactly how long, but yeah. And oh girl, there's just so many stories when it comes to my family and the history of my family. But yeah, where was I going with that? So yeah, bakhur, to answer your original. Sorry, I go off on a tangent.
That's
Sorry
fine.
about that.
So that's your staple.
Stories.
That's your like go-to. You've got it every single time, or at least like 90% of the time when you're practicing.
Absolutely, unless it's something dark. In that case, I use a dragon's blood resin as opposed to, but that's not really an Arabic staple. We for you know, darker Arabic magic, you know, we prefer to use like myrrh. So
okay. So if you're comfortable talking about it, what you said that you were the first person to kind of go into the darker realms of things. Why is that? What caused you to go there?
It's so weird. I feel like I was just born like that. You know, I was always very like an eye for an eye type of bitch, you know, my whole life. Excuse my language. Sorry,
No, that's
bleep that
fine.
out.
I don't care.
But I've always felt like you do me wrong and I have to get back at you. And I'm an Old Testament girl. I believe in, you know, I feel like that's how, I just feel like that's how it's supposed to be. When I was 13 years old, and this was the first spell I actually ever did, this kid, I'll never forget it, he would pick on me. I was the only girl in shop class, and it was all boys, and they would literally like destroy my self-esteem. Like they would, you know, just make fun of me, pick on me. You know, I was a little short and chubby, and my nose was too big for my face, and you know, they would call me penguin. And to this day, I'll never forget that. It was so bad.
Oh my God.
So one day I finally had enough, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get these mother effers. You know, I was like, you know, especially the ringleader.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never forget. I got off the bus. I was so upset. Like I was literally like between like fuming and crying at the same time. I was just so devastated. And I got off the bus at my best friend's stop, because we lived a few blocks away from each other. And I literally grabbed her yearbook, cut his picture out of it. I had this little Arabic tape cassette tape that I always listened to in my Walkman, because that's what it was back then, Walkman. And I played it on her radio, so you hear the Arabic like music in the background, and all she had was a red candle at her house, right? That's all she had. She had nothing there. So I literally like took his picture and I just start Xing out his face with a black marker, and I just got in the zone, and I took this red candle and I start melting, and I'm like, you're gonna stop picking on me, mother effer, you're gonna stop. So sure hell enough, the next day the kid didn't come to school. And when he did come back a few days later, he stopped picking on me. And the funniest thing was, and I even buried his picture, and my grandmother never taught me that. She never taught me.
You were just like, I just know what to do.
I just knew what to do. I just knew what to do. And it almost felt like, it was just, and even to this day, I'll just know. I'll be like, I need this, I need this, I need this. It'll just come to me. And so 5 years later, mind you, I was 13. So he stopped picking on me, never got picked on again, right? His life was completely messed up. Now, I didn't realize, I was a young kid. I didn't realize the magnitude of what I was doing. I was just upset. I was hurt. And I was like, whatever. So 5 years later, I was working at a movie theater, and I heard something about him. And I had heard because we had lost touch. We went to 2 different schools after that. And we had, that was it. But then when we graduated high school, I had heard his name or whatever, and I ended up finding out that his life was all completely messed up or whatever. He ended up being best friends with one of my boyfriends at the time, right? And when we broke up, this kid hit on me and was like completely in love with me. Like, he moved my whole apartment for free. I thought back to that maybe it has something to do with what I did when I was 13, because I used a red candle. I just used a plain red candle. I didn't have black. I didn't have anything. And I'm wondering, even to this day, I'm like, did I somehow make that happen, or was he picking on me because he always had a crush on me? I'll never know exactly.
Well, what's funny is I read something recently. I only read it in the one book. I don't know where the other resources, I haven't looked at those, but I read something recently that they were doing studies of the fact that your brain produces the same chemicals when you are afraid of somebody and when you're attracted to somebody. So that's why,
really?
Yeah. So that's why when people are like, wow, that person is really powerful, there's something alluring to that. And it's because your brain is like, that's terrifying and kind of hot.
That's true.
But there's so much we don't know about the brain, but that's just something that they're starting to find, that people kind of associate power with attraction. So if you're scared of something, you may or may not also be attracted to it in a way.
And that's why we like bad boys, a lot of us.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, that makes total sense. But the kid, I had him as a little puppy dog 5 years after that. Had him move my entire apartment. There was more obviously in between, but whatever. Long story short, I made him kind of like my bitch after that.
Hey, around goes around,
he terrorized me. He terrorized me.
Yeah.
So I,
like I said, what comes around goes around,
Mm-hmm,
it's just a cycle. Oh my God. Let me make sure time.
Your audience is gonna be like, what in that?
I know my audience is gonna be like that. Those emojis where it's like the 2 eyes and the lips. It's just like, but that's,
sorry, you guys.
That's one of the things though, is, you can't heal if you don't know what's harming. You can't only know one or the other. You can't harm if you don't know what's healing, and you can't heal if you don't know what's harming. So when people are like, I don't even read about hexes or curses or baneful magic, I don't even think about those, I don't want to learn about those. And at the end of the day, it's like, why though?
Why?
How are you going to be a healer and remove those things if you don't even know how they work? So I'm not saying you have to start hexing. I'm just saying if you don't learn about those things, you're going to be missing out on this whole piece of being a healer that you won't eventually understand.
Know anything about. 100%.
Yeah.
I agree. And that's the thing, like with my grandmother, because I didn't get to meet my great uncle or my great grandmother. Just my grandmother was the only one I got to know, you know, in all those generations that was a high priestess, but she removed evil eyes, she removed hexes, she removed all these things, but she would not inflict them purposely. I'll say
Right,
purposely she did it,
yeah.
but she had a thing about her where I never actually saw her doing anything. There's been stories of one lady put a evil eye on me, and apparently, supposedly my grandmother put a bunch of herbs in a pot, and it created like smoke, and she could see the woman's face, and she knew exactly who it was. It was a neighbor, because she kept touching my hair when I was really little, and she kept saying, "Oh, mahla hashad," like, "Oh, how beautiful the hair," but she didn't say like mashallah or God bless, and that's a big no-no in my country. And shortly after that, I got really sick, and I was about 3 or 4, but I was very smart. And one night I was so sick, and my grandmother was cooking on the stove, or it was either my grandmother or my mother, one of them. And I walked up to the stove, and I looked straight at them, and I put my hand right on top of the stove, like while I'm staring at them. It was like something like took over me. Yeah. So my grandmother, obviously, she put me in a bath, and I remember her giving me like this cleansing bath. And then my mother told me shortly after that, she had like a cauldron, and she started putting all these herbs in a pot, and she saw a woman's face in the smoke. And shortly after that, some that woman ended up getting really sick. So I don't know if she did that intentionally, because from my knowledge, because remember I was very young when my grandmother passed away, but from my knowledge she didn't. But thinking back at it, I don't think she had to. Like, I don't think she had to actually proactively hex somebody. She could
Right.
literally just think, bad, or speak bad. And because that is a curse if you think about it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, people don't understand how much power our words hold. You know, I talk about recently, I think in one of my recent videos, about how there's like a difference between specific words. And it's like, even if you're saying a good thing, it's the word that you choose is a very important thing, because each word holds a separate vibration. And yeah, people don't understand. So when you're, when you're like, especially when you're starting to grow your spirituality and grow your power in that and be able to direct energy like that, I learned very quickly to not say bad things, even though I think them in traffic.
you get people in car accidents.
Well, okay, so I mean, to be fair, he kind of did it to himself because he was driving fairly recklessly, but I spoke it out loud. Like I was so angry because he cut me off 3 times. And it was one of those people that had like the nice car, but he was just doing it just because he could, and I was like, come on, man,
Titled.
I'm just trying to get to work. And like, so I'm driving and he's cutting me off, and then he's cutting off people and speeding and doing whatever, and then he's slowing down in front of me, and I'm like, come on, man, like, don't do this. And so finally cuts me off the last second. I like slam on my brakes. The person behind me slams on their brakes, and I'm like, oh my god, the next time you do that, you're gonna regret that immediately. And I was like, immediately. He's like, drives away, and as I'm passing, like, he drives away, I can't see him, and I'm passing one of my exits, and I turn over, and he had cut somebody off, but somebody else like merged in front of him just as he pulled into that lane. So that person made him slam on their brakes, and the person behind him. So he had got sandwiched between 2 cars, and there was a wreck. And I'm driving by, and I was like, hey, that's the same guy. I was like,
Told you, you're gonna regret it.
yeah,
That's so
but
funny. I knew it when you said that. I'm like, oh, you got people to car
oof. Yeah, but I was like, you know what? I
intentionally.
won't say it out loud next time. I was like, I'm just gonna try to be like, it's woof. Yeah, but
You were like, holy shit, look at my power.
I know I was low
I
key
could,
kind of like, you deserve that, but also I felt bad for the other 2 people. Like, they didn't deserve that, So
you got
yeah.
a power, girl. I'm telling you. I told you that the first time I met you. I was like, you're powerful, boo.
Oh, I've got a lot to learn, but thank you. I appreciate that. I also want to ask what your favorite, because you do a lot of spell work on your channel. I want to ask what your favorite spell is to do. I don't know if you have like a specific one that you just like love to do that you always see results from, or maybe it's just like satisfying to cast. I don't know.
I love to do prosperity spells, money spells. To be honest, any money spell. Um, like my favorite one, honestly, would be the my favorite to do, like as in it's fun and satisfying to me, and it's relaxing, is candle work. I mean, it's just so relaxing, especially when you're sitting in front of the candle and you're just watching it go down and just imagining, the intention. I love that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say there's not one specific prosperity work that I enjoy doing more than the others, just any type of money work for anybody. I love to do it, and then to hear like not long after, like, oh my God, I just did one for my sister-in-law, and literally, and this isn't like typical, this was just, out of the norm, but the next day she won a $500 scratch off. And the way it happened, she was like, oh, she couldn't cash a check or something, and she's like, oh, I'm just gonna take this and buy a scratch off with it. It was like totally like random, and
Yeah,
it just gave me such a, like, I don't know, I just love it.
that's
So
cool.
I get kind of, love work. It's like it's all the time, but you don't get as many of those for people. So I really enjoy that.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously everybody wants love work, right? Everybody wants love work, but I feel like that kind of surprises me that people don't want prosperity work as often.
No, not even close. I would say out of everything, there's probably about 70% love work, and maybe, well, 70% love related work. So whether that's love, separation, whatever, and then 30% is related to money or court cases, kind of success. So it's a pretty big difference,
Gotcha.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody wants love, girl.
Everybody wants, I mean,
Everyone wants
love
love.
is great. I mean, it's terrible too, but yeah, love is great. I get why people want love work all the time. Is there,
But you being an earth sign and me being a Sag, you being a Virgo, we kind of like, why? What's up with the money? Like,
yeah,
you know.
well,
So,
what is it? I mean, I don't know a ton about astrology, but all my friends, I'm a Virgo sun and then a Capricorn rising. So it's like
oh,
very much
across the
like,
board.
let me get that coin, business, 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 work. Yeah.
Go getters.
Hmm. Yeah, very logical and not super emotional. So there's
Yes.
faults in that, but it is what
Not
it
at
is.
all. My best friend's a Virgo. I love her. We balance each other out. I think that's why me and you get along so well.
Yeah, I love Sagittarius. My best friend is a Sagittarius. So both of my
That's
best friends are
that's
Sagittarius.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's why you're my witchy older sister. I've
I
claimed you
would
now.
baby
You're mine
sister.
now. I'm gonna ask you one last question for my general audience, and then we're gonna move over to the Patreon. I'm curious what you do when you're not being Arabian conjure, when you're not like working or doing spells or doing readings or anything like that. Like, what do you do just as Shereen for fun?
That's such a nice question. I love that. I'll be honest with you, Boo. Um, I don't get much time to do anything, but when I do, it's I spend time with my husband. It's kind of boring. I spend time with my husband. I like to watch like old TV shows, particularly Desperate Housewives. For some reason, that puts me in a happy
Yeah.
place. I don't know why. Um, and I like to do like artsy things. I'm not that good at it, but I enjoy it, and I love to be like in nature. I love to, like right now with the fall here in the
Yes.
Northeast, just to walk around and like just enjoy the beautiful weather and the beautiful views, and just kind of take life in. That's really simple.
I mean, as long as it's fulfilling, that's what matters. It doesn't have to be exciting to anybody else.
I like to travel too. I do. I love to travel if
Me
I get a chance. I try to go overseas twice a year at least, but with Corona, I haven't
Yeah.
been able to go this year. But
Have you been somewhere that you like it's like your top of the list?
Honestly, and this might sound corny, but my own country, I think, is the most beautiful. Honestly, I haven't been to like any tropical islands except for Cozumel. I went on a cruise once in my whole life, and it was to Cozumel, and it was beautiful there. But so I really don't have a lot of places to compare because that's the only other country I've been to besides mine. I did make a stop in Spain one time, but I didn't really get to enjoy the scenery. So I honestly have to say it's my country. I don't think anybody could beat it though. I don't think any I could be wrong, but I've never been there. But when you go there, it is just like so beautiful. It's so relaxing and just it's like you look out and there's almost like a reddish. You ever see the movies where it kind of looks like a reddish haze in the
Yeah.
desert? Like it really looks like that in real
Really?
life. Yeah, and you hear like the prayer from on Fridays, especially when the mosque sing their prayer, and it like makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck, and it's just like so. I don't know how to explain it. Moving. I don't know, but I love it there. You guys
Oh,
should visit if you ever get a chance.
I want to visit so bad. That was the plan right before everything shut down and the pandemic and whatever, was that because I had finally secured a job that allowed me to go wherever I wanted. My first love is travel. And this is like my dream life. So I was like, oh my God, I can work from my laptop. So I was like, I'm just going to put all my stuff at my mom's house and travel and just go places. And the second that I had, cut off the lease with the last place in LA and moved my stuff out here, yeah, it didn't work out so well. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll be chilling in the US for however long. But I do plan on traveling around the US and seeing more places that are not cities, like try to social distance a little bit. But I do plan on actually road tripping around the US and like, because there's a lot of the US I haven't seen, But then
Me
when the borders
too.
do open, I do hope to. So maybe I'll stop by your area and we can like grab a drink or something. That'd be fun.
Girl, anytime my door's open to you, you got your own room here when you're ready.
Ooh,
And
okay.
maybe one of these days, like when the corona goes away, inshallah it'll be soon, you could come to my country with me. It would be, I want to get together a trip with like a bunch of witches. I feel like you guys
Don't
would,
joke with me because I'm one of those crazy
I'm
people that would
not,
do it.
I'm not joking. I'm dead ass serious. It's you guys like I would love to take a bunch of my witchy
Oh
friends and
my God.
just to show you guys how amazing it is.
I am 100% down. You just hit me up. I like,
We're gonna plan this. We're gonna plan
please
this.
do. All right. So on that, I have to end this for my main audience. Thank you everybody for watching. And then thanks Shereen so much for coming onto my channel. I have been a huge
Thank you
fan
guys.
for so long. Bye.
Bye.
So that was my interview with Shereen from Arabian Conjure. I hope that you enjoyed. Definitely go over to her channel and give her some love. That's all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and this interview. And as always, best of luck, be kind to each other, and may your gods treat you as you've treated others. Bye.